the play-by-play, here's Joe Cantada.
Thank you, Rafi. Well, everybody's looking out for the Russians who are debuting tonight in the 8th World Basketball Championships, and that's an auspicious debut if I ever saw one. Number 12, Mishkin, sinking a beautiful layup and breaking the ice, 2-0. The Australians are badly outsized. Average height of the Australians is 6'5". The Russians at an average height of 6'7". Not to mention one giant in the person of Kachenko, who is all of 7'3". Right now, the men on the floor for Russia. Eremin, that's him with the ball. A beautiful steal by Australia. Referee Ignacio holds play. A foul spotted there. The rest of the men on the floor for Russia are Milo Serdov, wearing number 6. And here's somebody with a kilometric name, Jarmo Kaninov. I don't think he would mind us calling him simply a Jarmu. He's wearing number 8. Mishkin is number 12. Belov is number 14. For Australia, we have Smythe, number 6, Senstock, number 7, Blitzchops, number 9, Walsh, number 13, and Gray, number 15.
There's a little change in the scoreboard. I think there's a mistake out there in the scoreboard. The lineup, that's not Belov, because the number of Belov, the one that passed away, Alexander, is number 14, and he is Zhigili. I suppose the switch is to sort of have this game, you know, given some kind of a respect for him, the Munich Olympic hero. So I think it still is Zhigili, number 14.
Zhigili, number 14. Okay, our original list was right, therefore. Australia in possession. The long balloon pass to McLeod. The Australians are somewhat listless, still trying to cope with the awesome height of the Russians. Sengstock has it. He's undecided. Shoots anyway, and is guilty of traveling. That moment of indecision was very costly. The USSR up by 3. The Australians still have to puncture that hoop. The Russians in possession once again. Mushkin, the jump shot by Eremin. It's good. The shortest fellow on the Russian bench is this boy wearing number 4, but he's 6'1". There are no Russians under 6 feet. A beautiful 15-footer shot by Philip Smythe to break the ice for Australia. Cutting down the Soviet lead to only 3, while the Russians are in possession. Here is Eremin giving it to Mushkin, and the ball is snapped out of bounds by Steve Gray. We have a turnover for Australia. Looks like last touch by the Russians. Goaltending there by Zhigili.
That call was made by referee Ignacio of the Philippines.
Referee Ignacio is one of a few selected Filipinos wearing the international FIBA referee's badge. 5-4 is the count. And it instantly becomes 7-4 after that looper by Milo Serov. The Australians launching their own offensive. Sengstock, number 7 on his back, over to Blitzchops. The hot shooting man Blitzchops showing tremendously in the elimination rounds. There's the conversion by Steve Gray from inside the lane. And Australia once again creeps to within 1 point of the Soviets. A difficult looper by Eremin. He's easily the shortest fellow on the floor. Or maybe not. McLeod is likewise short. The attempt by Australia falls awry. The Russians once again on the offensive. Here is Milo Serdov. The inside pass. Mushkin tries and draws a foul. All committed in the act of shooting. It's going to be a 3-to-make-2 situation. Score standing 11-6. The Soviets surging to a 5-point lead with only 2 minutes and 40 seconds gone by in the ball game.
At the line is number 12 man here of Russia. Mishkin. Put a 3-point play. It's unproductive.
Score unchanged at 11-6. Australia trailing behind by 5. Now, nope. The attempt by Steve Gray is no good. Beautiful passing play by the Russians, culminating in an under-goal, unopposed layup by Jarmu. Counter fast break by Australia. Walsh consummating that one. It's a very interesting contest here between the two 7-footers on the floor. Walsh for Australia and Gigili for Russia. That's Gigili getting away from Walsh and making it 15-8. The Australians behind again by 7. The Russians seem to be applying a full court press this early in the game, which is very untypical of them. A 3-second violation called against Kovalenko. Australia holds down the rebound. Lichov scoring on a beautiful assist by Philip Smythe. And the Australians come to within 5. 15-10, 4 minutes gone. First half of action. USSR versus Australia, the surprise package of the 8th World Basketball Championships. That dunk attempt by Milo Zertov was bungled. And the ball goes off the baseline in favor of Australia.
Terrific running game both teams are putting up right now.
Dazzling, Rafi. Considering their sizes, you could almost hear the Rizal Coliseum floor shaking to its foundation. Passing play by Australia, and a 3-second violation is spotted on them. We have a turnover for the Soviets. 15-10. It's been that way since more than a minute ago. Here is Mushkin, number 12, on his back for the Russians. Jarmu attempting and making a 20-footer, makes it 17-10. 4.5 minutes gone in the first half. The Australians on the attack. Jump shot. Lishovs fails. The rebound going to Giant Givili. Mushkin culminating. 19-10. It's a full court press. This is very untypical of the Russians, who are famous for their zone. We have a foul spotted on middleman Stanislav Eremin.
That's the Filipino referee there, international referee Alex Ignacio. There are actually two of them. The other one who has officiated, I think, the game of Brazil and Canada, Mr. Manning Inocentes.
We've got exactly 15 minutes left in the first half. 19-10. Australians trailing behind by 5, or rather 9 points. And that play was broken up by Milo Zertov of the Soviet Union, wearing number 6 on his back. The Australians are really finding it hard to cope, not only with the height, but also with the bulk and the speed of the Russians. Here's McLeod. Jump shot from the top of the keyhole by Blitchovs is no good. The Russians hold it down. Here comes Eremin. He's picked up by Smythe. Gigili attempting a breakaway and drawing a foul from
Peter Walsh.
Peter Walsh. Inbound for the Russians. Here is Mushkin missing. The rebound going to the Giant. Gigili missing likewise. A third attempt. Good that time. Courtesy of Milo Zertov. Smythe. And a bounce pass to Blitchovs. In the right quarter court. Steve Gray. Gray gets it back. Up against 3 Russians. Jump shot by Sengstock. No good. The Russians easily dominating both boards. And Eremin, the little man, is playing court general from the 15-foot line. An easy shot, bungled. The follow-up by Gigili. How could you dispute that? They didn't even bother to jump. 23-10. And the Russians surge to a commanding 13-point lead this early in the game, which was more than the Yugoslavs were capable of doing against the Filipinos earlier tonight.
Substitution. It's a 2-man substitution here for Australia. We have Maddock coming in for Smythe.
And here is Blichov's. His drive inside is foiled by Mushkin, but a foul is simultaneously spotted on Mushkin. Number 10, Medok, sinking it from 25 feet out. Cutting down the Russian lead somewhat to only 11, 23-12. Time left, first half action, 13 minutes and 7 seconds. The Soviets on the offensive. The inside pass to the Giant is, the attempt is no good. Medok pulls it down for Russia, and he's harassed. Dre now brings it down court for the Aussies. Dalglish providing a screen, not utilized by Medok. In the right quarter court, we have Medok. The pass off to Dalglish. Dalglish is cornered. He gives it to the hitman, Blichov's. He fails likewise. Looks like Blichov's has got a cool hand tonight. While given time, a misplay by the Russians, and we have a turnover for Australia. 23-12. Russians up by 11. Dalglish in the left quarter court, guarded tightly by Miloserdov. The attempt is foiled in midair. Russia, however, fails to get possession. Australia with another chance. Blichov's says it in the right quarter court. Top of the keyhole, we have Medok. Dalglish dances in. The ball almost blocked. The pass almost goes awry. Recovery, however, and here is the attempt by Jarmu. And referee Innocente spouts a foul on Mr. Medok.
That's foul number 1 for Medok. Australian substitution here. Peter Walsh now being replaced by Hodges, number 14, and we have the tallest of them all, Kachenko, replacing Zhigili.
Kachenko stands all of 7 feet 3 inches, just 1 inch shorter than Mu of China. But there's a vast difference in the way these two gentlemen look and in the way they move. Mr. Kachenko weighs 297 pounds, but he runs around like a 180-pounder. Another substitution for the Russians. Number 7, Salnikov, seeing action for the first time, pulling out Miloserdov. First of a 3-to-make-2 opportunity by Jarmu. For the benefit of those who've just joined us, we are just giving him a nickname because his name is kind of hard to pronounce. Jarmu Kanidov.
I don't know, Joe, but it's number 7 man. If I recall right, in the Olympics, I think he was known as Jarmu Kamidov. So there must have been a possibility of a switch here in number. Remember the Yugoslavia lineup? Number 12 originally belonging to Slavnic. Well, number 12 is Radovadovic, while Slavnic actually is holding on to the number 10 jersey. And it's just possible that number 7 right here is Jarmo Kamidov, and number 6 is Salnikov.
Well, we'll confirm that with the official statisticians a little later. Right now, we have a timeout.
Kachenko is in for the first time. Let's see how he operates.
Well, if the round robin is any gauge, Rafi, I think we should see some spectacular heroics from this giant wearing number 11 for the Soviet Union. Australia on the offensive. Dalglish has it, looks around for a receiver, moves closer, passes outside. The Australians are listlessly passing that ball around and are forced to outside shooting. Bingo by Medok, the bearded one. 25-14, Russian lead down to 11. They're on the attack, however. The Australians applying a switching man-to-man defense. Well, that's the only way to cope with a taller opponent. Nevertheless, Salnikov punctures the basket to give Russia another 13-point bulge. Here come the green shirts. If you're watching this in color, Australia is wearing green. The Russians are wearing red. If you're watching this in black and white, the Australians are working the darker uniforms. The attempt from outside by Medok is no good. A struggle for possession, one out by Russia. Here is Jarmu, and he consummates with an easy layup. 29-14. The Soviet Union going to town this early in the game. I've never seen the Australians more befuddled than they are now. Here comes Blichov's. Number 14, Wuhadjis is crowded. The follow-up attempt of Dalglish, however, is good. The Australians seem to try to or seemed trying to draw the big men of Australia to keep one of their own open for the easy shot. Another error by the Soviets, but it was last handled by Steve Gray. So Russia will keep it. Substitution. Number 10, Sergei Belov. No relation to the late Alexander Belov, whom the Russians are mourning after he passed away a couple of days back at the age of 29. Did you ever find out the cause of his death, Rafi?
I think it was cancer, Joe. At least that's how we got report. We had the reports in the paper.
Well, Alexander Belov, if you will recall, was the hero of the Soviet Union in that highly controversial victory they scored at the expense of the United States in Munich. Fantastic dunk by Vladimir Tkachenko, and he didn't even blink an eyelash.
He's improved a lot since the last time I saw him in the Olympics. Very much improved. In fact, I never saw him dunk in 1976.
Well, he's only 21 years old, Rafi, and he's got plenty of room for improvement. He's asking for a pass now. The score is 31-16. The Russians up by 15. Here comes Tkachenko. The inside pass. The layup by Belov is spoiled. But a foul is spotted somewhere on the Australian side, sending Belov, wearing number 10. He's wearing a very thick mustache. You can't possibly mistake him. We've got 9 minutes and 27 seconds left. A 3-to-make-2 opportunity for Mr. Belov, Sergei Belov.
That's right, the oldest cager in the team at 34 years old.
How many Olympics has he seen?
Well, he has seen action only in the Montreal Olympics. He's actually a Red Army major who is an engineer and a stamp collector.
A philatelist.
Philatelist, that's right.
32-16 is the count. Number 7, Salnikov cashing in on that missed charity by Belov to make it 34-16 for Russia. Another interception by the Russians. Here comes Salnikov, the inside pass, and the conversion by Belosteny, wearing number 5 on his back.
Russians are moving like pistons. Almost the same pressure.
And the Australians still haven't found an antidote for that. Maddock giving it to Morzeau, the one with the afro hairdo. The Australians are restlessly passing the ball around. That was Hodges consummating, catching the Russian defenses flat-footed, edging into within 18 points, 36-18. Is it shaping up to be a rout this early? Well, we'll find out. 8.5 minutes left in the first half. The Soviet Union in the offensive. Tkachenko gets the pass and the beautiful dunk.
That's the second for the evening.
I don't know if even Will Chamberlain could have stopped that one. The Australians on the offensive once again. Maddock gives it to Morzeau. Morzeau is double teamed. Passes outside to the wrong man. Nope. Maddock gets it. The attempt by him from 20 feet out is no good. The Australians are taking hurried shots, and there's a very glaring foul spotted on Salnikov. An offensive foul. We have a turnover for Australia and a timeout.
Anyhow, for Russia, we have on the hard court right now number 9 Ideshko, number 13 Iovaisha, 10 is Belov, number 5 is Belosteny, and number 15 is Zhigili. For Australia, number 4 Daglish, number 6 Smith or Smythe, number 9 Blitchoffs, number 14 Hodges, and number 12 Morceau.
The Australian cheering squad in the gallery is coming up with a war cry that sounds neither this nor that. 48-28. The Australians on the offensive. They're behind by 20. The look. Good. Blitchoffs. The hitman of Australia is beginning to find his trigger finger. A pass inside by Iovaisha is stolen. Counter stolen by Iovaisha himself. And just to make it bad for the Australians, he decides to sink it with a vengeance. 50-30. Contact whistle by referee Ignacio. It'll be a throw in for the Russians. The Russians, apart from being very tall, are very muscularly built, and I think this is on account of the weight training conditioning program they undergo during off-season. The Russians on the offensive. Look at that beautiful passing play, and it's capped off with a beautiful backboard shot. Compliments of Zhigili. That's according to the scoreboard anyway. Number 15 man is Zhigili. 52-30. Russians up by 22. Australians in possession. Trying very hard to find their bearings. Morzeau on the inside pass to Gray. 10 seconds left in the shot clock. And finally, Walsh sinks it from 10 feet out. Walsh, one of two Australian 7-footers. He stands 7 feet flat. The pass bounced off the backboard. Recovery by Australia. Here is Gray, and the pass is counter stolen. Number 13, Yovaisha. They're in their own front court now. What happens here? It's a backcourt violation by the Russians because the ball bounced off the shoulder of Zhigili and went into the backcourt.
Sengstock coming in here for Morzeau.
And the lineup now for Australia: Gray, Smythe, Mitchovs, Walsh, and Sengstock. This is Sengstock. The attempt by him is no good, but there's the inevitable foul by Belostenier, wearing jersey number 5 for the Soviets. We have a 3-to-make-2 opportunity for Larry Sengstock, who plays forward for the Aussies. He stands 6'6", and you won't believe this, but he's only 18 years old. Score unchanged. He's got 2 more cracks coming to him. 1 minute and 9 seconds left in the first half. Too much muscle behind the second charity. And Sengstock wants to bang his head on the floor in dismay. The third is en route and good this time. 52-33. Russian lead down to 19. Their biggest bulge was 24. About 3 minutes back. Their offensive is underway. Traveling called against Bilov. Up front now by Blitchops. Steve Gray back to Blitchops. Blitchops goes to the other side of the court. The handoff to Smythe. Blitchops again. He eludes 2 Russian guards. Passes outside to Smythe. And they're really having a hard time penetrating that cordon put around the lane by the Russians. 52-33. Soviet lead down again to 19 as they move into their counteroffensive. Belov, a jump shot off Smythe. 54-33. 26 seconds left. Time enough for 1 or 2 more plays. Let's see who can cash in on this. Australia in possession right now. Blitchovs trying to get away. And we have a 3-second violation. No, a charging foul called on Blitchovs.
And with only 17.2 seconds left, we have Kachenko coming back in again for number 15 man Yovaisha. Zhigili.
Well, don't worry. We'll settle this issue of identities right after the lemon time. Kachenko tilting a pass. The pivot shot. And look at that little man Smythe trying to hang on to him. Kachenko in the limelight. 7 feet 3 inches, 297 pounds, and only 21 years old. He cups out with the first charity. Score unchanged, 54-33. Well, he's got too much muscle on those shoulders.
He's got 5 points for the moment, but all the 4 points scored earlier were all in dunk shots. Kachenko still misses, but a beautiful tip in there, or tip in by number 13 man Yovaisha. Wow, what a shot! What a shot! Blitchops. I'd say about 2 or 3 meters beyond the center line, and the shot just went in. Okay, we're back here.